Okay, let's just jump right in. I want to unpack this constant, almost biological tension that I think defines so much of modern life.
Mm,
You know the feeling, right? You're scrolling or you're in a store and your finger is just hovering over the buy now button,
right.
and there's this pulse. It's not really joy, it's more of a quiet, relentless urgency.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's the moment the internal monologue starts, isn't it?
Hmm.
The one we've all been trained to memorize. This will finally make me feel complete.
Oh, yeah. Or the slightly more acceptable version, I deserve this.
Exactly. I deserve this. And so we chase that feeling, convinced that this thing, the new gadget, the perfect trip, that's the key.
And then the transaction's done, the package arrives, you do the whole unboxing thing, and for a second there is a spark, a flash of relief.
Really hit, yeah.
But it's followed almost immediately by, I don't know, a kind of silence, a hollowness. We call it emotional flatness, and it's like you've just tried to feed something that doesn't actually have a stomach.
And that gap, that space between the huge expectation we had and the very brief experience we actually got, that's a huge turning point. I think it's an invitation.
An invitation to what?
To look deeper. The problem isn't the object. It's not even really the desire. The real question is, what were we actually trying to fill? What anxiety were we trying to escape from in that moment?
That's the core of it, because we live in this time of just radical abundance. We have access to more stuff, more information, more everything than any generation before us.
Instantly available.
Instantly. And yet there's this weird contradiction where we feel perpetually restless. We're always seeking the next thing. So why? Why doesn't all this abundance equal fulfillment?
Well, what you've just described is basically the engine of modern consumerism, and there's a technical name for it in psychology. Hedonic adaptation.
Hedonic adaptation.
Yeah. It's this phenomenon where the intense pleasure you get from a new thing fades incredibly quickly. Your mind just adjusts. That new object, that new thrill, becomes the new baseline, the new normal.
So the excitement isn't really in having the new phone. It's in the anticipation that buying it will solve some kind of deep internal problem.
Exactly right. The human mind is a meaning-making machine. Once the new object arrives, it just gets filed under stuff I own. The novelty is gone almost immediately.
And we're left looking for the next fix.
The next dopamine hit. And I mean, marketers know this better than anyone. They become masters at using our insecurities, packaging desire as empowerment or self-care.
And it leaves us with that feeling you mentioned, like we've just fed a ghost.
That's it. It's the perfect phrase for it. It's this massive waste of energy looking for an external solution to an internal condition.
But this isn't a new problem, is it? I mean, this tension, this is something people were talking about thousands of years ago. To get out of the cycle, we have to know what kind of desire is, driving the bus.
That distinction is everything. It's the foundation for getting any clarity here. The Buddhist tradition actually provides two really critical categories for desire. The first one is tacha. It's often translated as craving or thirst. It's that grasping, clinging, demanding desire. It's the voice that insists, I must have this or I won't be happy.
Right, that's the voice that comes from that deep story of I'm not enough or I'm lacking something. And that constant chase, that tacha, leads directly to, what is it, dukkha?
Yes, dukkha, which we often translate as suffering, but it's more nuanced. It's that persistent dissatisfaction, the sense that things are just a little bit off.
Always off.
Tantra just reinforces that feeling of being incomplete, that keeps us on that treadmill. But, and this is so important, the wisdom isn't to condemn desire itself. It's about distinguishing that grasping from the second type, which is chanda.
Chanda, and what's that?
Chanda is what we'd call wholesome aspiration. It's a desire that fuels growth, that fuels ethical action, connection. It's a desire that moves you towards something meaningful.
Okay, so let's make that practical. Chanda would be like the desire to work hard to become a better craftsman or to build a business with real integrity.
Perfect example.
Whereas Tantra would be the desperate need to buy the expensive watch and the fancy truck to look like a successful craftsman, even if you're drowning in debt.
That's it, exactly. One is about contribution and expansion. The other is about acquisition and validation. And our whole consumer culture is built to feed Tantra. It thrives on it.
Okay, but this feels a little abstract. If I'm standing there in the moment and that desire feels like a physical knot in my stomach, the ghost is like howling. Is it really realistic to think I can stop and do a philosophical analysis?
That's a fair point, because it is hard. The solution isn't to suppress the desire. That just makes it stronger. The solution is what's called the revolutionary act of attention, the practice of sati, or mindfulness.
Sati. Okay, so what does that actually look like?
In this context, mindfulness is an active presence. It's about remembering what truly matters to you when the noise of craving is at its absolute loudest.
So you're not fighting it, you're illuminating it.
You're illuminating the impulse itself. You're trying to insert what some people call a luminous gap between feeling and reaction.
That gap, okay, I like that. That's where the freedom is born. But how do you do that? How do you create that gap when the buy now button is practically glowing?
You practice the pause. It's very simple but not easy. First, you just breathe, take a deep breath, and notice where you feel that craving in your body. Is it a tightness in your chest? A fluttering in your stomach? Just feel it, no judgment.
Okay, breathe, feel.
Second, you ask a couple of diagnostic questions. You have to be honest with yourself. Ask, what feeling am I trying to soothe right now? Is it anxiety, boredom, loneliness? Is it because I saw someone else with it? And then the big one, is this purchase an expression of my values or a reaction to a feeling I don't want to feel?
So you're not judging the desire as bad, you're just getting curious about it. You're treating the emotion like data, not a command?
Precisely. And what's amazing is that modern neuroscience completely validates this ancient practice. We know that the anticipation of a purchase lights up our brain's reward system. It creates this powerful dopamine loop. It's basically an addiction pattern.
Right.
But even brief mindfulness training helps to interrupt that. It physically strengthens your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain for, long-term planning and impulse control. You are literally rewiring your brain.
That makes it feel less like a self-help tip and more like a neurological upgrade.
It is.
So let's expand this out a bit, away from just buying things and more into our ambition, our professional lives, because the restlessness isn't just about stuff, it's about what we chase. We assume success means constant output, climbing the ladder.
Always more.
Always more. So how do we challenge that? What does success even look like when it's not measured by your net worth or how busy you are?
I think we have to swap out the accumulation metric for what I'd call the alignment metric. In the corporate world, success is external output. But in these wisdom traditions, the metric was kusala dhamma, wholesome qualities.
Things like generosity, kindness.
Generosity, ethical conduct, and critically, mental clarity. True success, from this point of view, isn't about what you accumulate on the outside, but what you cultivate on the inside. Success is inner coherence.
Inner coherence, that's a much tougher benchmark than a quarterly report, isn't it? Because you can't fake it. It's about who you are, not what you have.
It is, and it forces a total shift in our relationship with money. We stop seeing it as just a tool for transactions or a way to measure ego, and we start seeing it as a spiritual tool, a path for awakening.
How so?
Well, the first pillar is right livelihood. It's about ensuring how you earn and spend your money aligns with your deepest integrity.
Okay, but a listener might be thinking, great, but I have a mortgage, I have a demanding job. Does this mean I have to quit and go live in a monastery?
Not at all. Not at all.
Right.
Livelihood in the modern world is often about quiet, small acts of alignment. It's about asking, where is my 401k invested? Do those companies align with my values?
Or looking into the brands you buy from.
Exactly. Or even just switching your bank to one that supports ethical community projects. These aren't huge, dramatic gestures. They're subtle, powerful acts that make sure your money isn't working against your conscience.
And the other side of that coin would be giving, right? That seems like the natural antidote to consumption.
It is the practice of dana, generosity. But it's not charity in the way we often think of it. It's a spiritual discipline. It's designed to weaken that self-centered voice.
So how does that work in practice?
When you choose to pay full price for something made by a small artisan, honoring their labor, that's dana. When you really listen to a colleague without just waiting for your turn to speak, you're giving your attention. That's dana. It's not just financial, it's energetic.
I love that idea, that paradox, that mindfulness doesn't mean you spend less necessarily. It just means you spend differently, with intention.
Right. You might pay more for that ethically sourced thing because you're honoring the entire system behind it. Or you might invest a lot in a retreat or a coach because you realize your own mind, your clarity, is your most valuable asset.
So you move from buying things to compensate for a feeling of lack to spending as an expression of your values.
Exactly. And this is what leads to the ultimate freedom. The freedom of enough.
Enough. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do we find enough when every ad and every algorithm is screaming that we need more?
We can use the metaphor of the alms bowl. A monk receives whatever is offered with mindful attention. We can treat our wallet, our credit card, our phone as a modern alms bowl.
I like that. A tool for discernment.
It's a tool for discernment. Every single transaction, big or small, becomes a moment to pause and ask, with real intention. Does this serve my awakening or my avoidance?
So every trip to the grocery store, every online order becomes a moment of applied meditation.
It does, and a really interesting thing starts to happen when you practice this. The more awareness you bring, the less you feel that frantic need to do or to get. You start to find that the inner void you're trying to fill with stuff, it transforms into spaciousness. It's not a hole to be patched, it's a canvas to be lived in.
And that's where contentment comes from.
That's contentment, or santuhi. It's the ease that comes when your mind is no longer at war with itself. You realize the real currency, the only one that truly matters, is your own attention, presence, and clarity.
That shift is, well, it's sovereignty, isn't it? It's freedom from being a hostage to every whim, every social pressure. It's not about restriction, it's about release.
It's total liberation.
So the next time you feel that urge, the takeaway is, don't just consult your budget, consult your breath. Consult your body, consult your values. Let your spending be an expression of who you're becoming.
And maybe as a final thought for you to carry away from our deep dive today, consider this. What if the most powerful, highest yield investment you will ever make, more than any stock or any property, is simply in your own awareness? What if real wealth isn't in your bank account, but in your ability to stay centered and calm, whether you have a lot or a little? When you're grounded in that inner coherence, every decision, financial and otherwise, it all becomes sacred.